Hi everyone, my name is Munjal Shah. I am a PhD student at University at Buffalo, and today I'll be presenting my work on compensating Bumblebee flight aerodynamics due to wing wear. Bees collect nectar and pollen through foraging, and the foraging task is done by worker bees. On a typical day, a worker bee spends 3 hours in foraging. During the foraging task, they encounter wing vegetation collision up to 50 to 90 per minute. The lifespan of a typical worker bee is around 36 days. So this results in around 400 to 500,000 collision for each worker bee during its lifespan. This kind of high collision causes wing wear in bumblebees, and the wing wear makes bees more prone to predators, hence reducing their lifespan. Bumblebees compensate wing wear through change in kinematics. It is known that the bees compensate wing wear through change in frequency, and with change in frequency, they generate required forces to maintain the flight. The objective of the current study is to examine the effect of different wing wear patterns on frequency, and to also understand how change in frequency affect the aerodynamics of the bumblebee flight. We will also compare models to examine which variable has more dominant effect on the bumblebee flight, whether it's wear magnitude or wear location. Some natural wing wear patterns are shown in Figure 1 and Figure 2. Figure on the top shows a Bombus Pennsylvanicus bumblebee wing with its corrugation marked with all veins and cells. It is to note that the tip of the wing has no veins. That means it that means the tip part of the wing is more susceptible to the wear, as it was shown in the previous slide with the natural wing wear patterns. Based on the natural wing wear pattern that we show before, we artificially made three wing wear patterns as shown in the slide. The type 1 and type 3 wing wear pattern were chosen such a way that they have similar area reduction of 15%, but their wing wear patterns are different. Where in type 1, the most of the area removed is near the leading edge and the tip part, whereas for the type 3, the majority of the area removed is uniform across its trailing edge and the tip area. However, the type 2 was the extreme case with the area reduction of 29%.
The numerical modeling of bumblebee flight is in laminar regime based on the Reynolds number, as you can see from the equation. The maximum area obtained in our current simulation is 7800, and the numerical methods employed to solve 3D laminar incompressible flow are shown on the right side.
The domain being considered for the current study is shown in the top figure. The domain dimensions are 17 by 21 by 16 times the length of the wing. It is being done to ensure that the wall effects are minimum during the competitions. As shown in the bottom figure, both the wings and the body are enclosed inside and separate overside. This is being done to ensure that each wing can move freely. Based on the predefined kinematics of the wings, the full flapping motion of the bumblebee is shown in the video. The body weight for the worker being considered is 175 milligram and the wing length is 13.2 millimeters. In order to do frequency calculation, a trial and error method was chosen. The table on the bottom shows frequency associated with three flight velocities when the wing is undamaged, the second column. In order to find the modified frequency for each wing wear model type 1, type 2, and type 3, the frequency of the both wings were changed until the total lift produced by both wings, that means the lift produced by the whole wing and the damaged wing, matches that of the original model with the both wings undamaged and the frequency shown in column 2. Now, this trial and error process was done until the forces were within plus or minus 3% of error with the original model. And the modified frequency for each model is shown in the bottom. It is to note that the both wings operated at the same frequency during this trial and error, and the right wing was always the one which was damaged. As it's shown, the wing wear type 2 with the highest wear magnitude of 29% shows the higher frequency, whereas type 1 and type 3 were lower than the type 2 in terms of frequency. Now let's discuss aerodynamic power requirement for each model. As a reminder, it is to note that for each wear model from type 1 to type 3, the left wing is undamaged and the right wing is damaged. Now figure on the left shows the power requirement in undamaged wings for each wear model, whereas figure on the right shows the power requirement in damaged wing for each wear model. For both the figure, The whole wing model with original kinematics is shown as reference. For each model, three cases are presented: hovering in shaded area, the 1 meter per second forward velocity with the gray area, and 2.5 meter per second velocity with the black area. For each case, the modified frequency for each wear model is shown on top of each bar graph. For each case, the power requirement in the undamaged wing shows that the power is proportional to the frequency based on the figure in the left, as each model has same wing on the left side operating at different frequency as it's undamaged. Now the power requirement decreases with increasing in velocity, as it can be seen from the figure on the left. Now this trend with respect to velocity remains the same in the damaged wings as well, as you can see from the figure on the right. However, power is no longer a function of frequency in the damaged wing, as each model has different wear and different wing planar area. Now, comparing each wing wear model, we can see that the Type 3 model requires the most power out of all models here, because the Type 3 model has uniform wear near the tip to the trailing edge, as it can be seen from the figure on the top. And because of this uniform wear, it has a reduced wingspan compared to the whole wing model. So it behaves like it has a reduced wingspan compared to the whole wing model. The Type 1 and Type 2 has wear near leading edge, as it can be seen from the figures, and which leads to the change in aerodynamics near the wing, and it changes the behavior in the wake as well. Now it is to note that the Type 1 and Type 3 has similar wear of 15%. However, Type 1 requires lower power, which is a fascinating finding of the study. And it can be said that the power is no longer dependent on frequency, but it's more of a function of wear location rather than wear magnitude. Let's discuss the aerodynamics near the wing and in the wake. Here we have shown Q criterion, which is highlighting the area in the flow which is swirling at a higher rate than the other at 2.5 meter per second, and at an instance where we have the maximum lift. Here we have shown the whole wing model for reference on the top left corner. Now, in order to understand, you have to look at two vertex structure highlighted in the flow, which is the leading edge vertex and tip vertex. Leading edge vertex is the vertex generated near the leading edge, which helps Bumblebee generate the suction force required to maintain the flapping flight. Now, this leading edge vertex during this flapping flight sheds in the wake called as a tip vertex. Now let's compare the Type 3 with the whole wing. It is visible that due to the uniform wear in Type 3, the formation of LEV and tip vertex is similar to the whole wing model. But due to the loss of the membrane near the tip, as it can be seen, the tip vertex seems shifted. As Type 2 and Type 2 have area removed from the forewing near the tip, as it can be seen, the vein protrusion sheds additional tip vertices in the wake, as it can be seen from each arrow, and you can compare that with the tip vertices shown for each model. It is evident that the frequency is dependent on LEV formation. So if you compare the Type 3, which is showing formation of LEV similar to the whole wing, it requires lower frequency, which is 163, than Type 2 and Type 1, which has the area removed from the near the tip region or forewing region, which hinders the formation of LEV, and hence they cannot generate required suction force easily and requires higher frequency. The pressure contour at instance of a maximum lift during flapping is compared here. The uniform wear on Type 3 exhibits the similar wear pattern but higher pressure relative to the whole wing model. It can be observed between Type 1 and Type 3 that for the same area removal of 15%, the pressure distribution is different on the forewing, as it can be seen. There are notable differences near wing tip for each wing wear pattern. For Type 1, the negative pressure extends compared to Type 3. A wing wear Type 1 requires higher frequency than Type 3, as area removed from its forewing tip region essential to the suction pressure on top, as we also saw that in the formation of LEV. The higher frequency in Type 1 and Type 2 extend the negative tip, extend the pressure to the wing tip where the vein protrudes due to the missing membrane. Additional tip was shared from this vein protrusion in Type 1 and Type 2, as we saw in the Q criterion comparison, creating the higher local pressure near these edges. The figure on the top left shows the total power required for each model with respect to velocity. Now, based on the observation made for Bumblebee flight with modified frequency for each wing wear pattern, it is evident that the wing wear changes kinematics and fluid flow surrounding the wing. The qualitative analysis showed that the suction pressure required for lift on the top wing surface is dependent on the wing wear pattern. The wing wear leads to a higher aerodynamic power requirement for the flapping flight. And we also found that the frequency is a function of wear magnitude than wear location, whereas the power requirement is a function of wear location than wear magnitude. This work was performed in part at Center for Computational Research at University of Buffalo. We would also like to thank the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences at University of Buffalo for their financial support. Thank you.